Welcome to Broad Strokes, Fortune's show where we talk about the news that matters to women. So, since we were sitting on this couch last week, the Women's March on Washington happened. I think it's been widely considered a success. It was more than 3 million people worldwide, about 500,000 in DC alone. But I think it's worth noting that not all women felt included in this march. I mean, you heard from some women of color that they didn't feel like their concerns were being represented.
Yeah, and I think the organizers of this march, heard those concerns and really tried to make it as inclusive as possible. But, I think the issue with them trying to make it so inclusive was it was kind of unfocused, like there was no really clear agenda, and I think a lot of women out there on the streets, had very, very, very different reasons for marching.
So, I guess the question is, how do you take all these people with all these different concerns and marshal them going forward?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are already drawing parallels to Occupy Wall Street. I don't think anyone wants to see another kind of giant mass of people that are kind of feeling upset but have nowhere to channel their energy. So one of the things that the march is doing is they are basically launching a 10 actions in 100 days campaign. So the idea is to do 10 things over the course of the first 100 days of Trump's presidency. The first being just a postcard that people can send to their senators voicing their concerns.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see, what happens going forward. But there was actually another story that came out of the march that I thought was really interesting. It ran in the New York Times, and it was basically a look at the dads of Montclair, New Jersey. So the idea was this is a place that's very liberal. It overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton. So many of the women there are going to go march. What are the dads going to do? They have to take care of these kids all by themselves for a whole day.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the story was really tone deaf, and actually the writer and the editor have since apologized, but it did really kind of point out something interesting, and it wasn't totally off the mark, in that women still spend twice as much time as men on childcare. So yeah, while it's definitely not newsworthy to say that, oh my God, alert, alert, dads are taking care of kids, it's definitely kind of pointing out something about our society and kind of reminding us that we're not really at the place where those responsibilities are shared equally among genders.
Yeah. I mean, I also thought it was interesting that, the Metro desk that put this story out is not all men. There are women that read this story, and it didn't raise red flags for them. So I think this tells us, one, these are pretty entrenched stereotypes in our culture. And also, if you work somewhere and you see something that, maybe sets off some alarm bells for you, definitely say something. Everyone will be happy that you did.
So speaking of deeply entrenched gender stereotypes, there was a study that came out this week that basically said that single women are way more likely to downplay their ambitions around single guys.
Yeah, I have to say I was shocked by this. I really thought we'd come further than this. And it was particularly interesting that this study was done at a business school. So, this is a population, I would think, that would really reward ambition in everyone. But on the other hand, you can't really blame these women on some level. The researchers also cited a study that said basically that ambitious men are more likely to look for a less ambitious partner. So if you're a woman who's trying to balance your personal life and your career life, this is going to be a struggle for you.
Yeah, I mean, when it becomes kind of a bigger problem is when it starts leaking from the personal to the professional. So for single women in particular, they are way, way more likely than other groups to forego career opportunities, because they're afraid of seeming too assertive or too pushy. 3/4 of them, that's a large number. They basically said that, I've hesitated to ask for a raise, I haven't raised my hand in leadership positions, and I basically am not speaking in meetings as much because I'm afraid of seeming too assertive.
Right, and it's not just those women. I feel like this sends a large message about being an ambitious woman overall. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have on Broad Strokes this week. Come back next Friday for another episode on Fortune.com.